right, folks, welcome. We're going to get going here. This is a special day, and for the Creighton family, and certainly for Army, Gymnastics, and the athletic department. First, I'd like to welcome you all and thank you for attending the 30th anniversary of the West Point Open. And this is a special day for all of us. Clearly, last year was supposed to be the 30th, but you all know what we've been dealing with. And so, even under the circumstances that we're in now, we appreciate everybody taking the time for this great unveiling of the Neal, the MG Neal and Joan Creighton Gymnastics Arena. Joan, this is your home. This is your facility. Thank you for being here, and thank you. It's been a pleasure the whole way, certainly. The last at least 20 years, 18, 19 anyway, spending time with you and Neal. This morning, we had the opportunity to unveil the new Lieutenant Howie Pontock Wall of Distinction over here, and that was a special event as well. And there's a couple, many of these key players that have been involved with our program that have allowed us to really move the bar higher and higher throughout the years. And under the leadership of Mccartney and his team, as well as the overall support at USMA, we're in a position to provide tremendous opportunities and produce a winning team and an excellent, unmatched experience for the cadet athletes. And these types of facilities are really, truly what makes the difference of excellence. And that's something that Neal kind of pounded on me all along when we started this endowment. And it was like, this is the bar, we're going to get there, that's the expectation, we're not going to stop. And so that's basically who I had drilling on me for all those years. But before I get going a little bit more with that, I'd like to introduce our Deputy Athletic Director, retired Colonel Dan McCartney, for a welcome and a few words. Dan?
So certainly welcome Mrs. Creighton and to the extended Creighton family and all the rest of the friends who are here today. It wasn't that long ago, I guess about a month or so ago, I was up here, and the first time that I saw all the improvements that were made, and to see that General Neal and Joan Creighton's story as we first come into the building. And just, I stopped and I spent a long while actually looking at the great story of Neal and Joan and the great career that he had and we both had as a family. And it reminded me of a quote that we say often around here that I feel very strongly about from General MacArthur, and I'm sure some of you have heard it, right? And the quote goes, "Upon the fields of friendly strife are sown the seeds which upon other days on other fields will bear the fruits of victory." And the meaning, I think, is fairly self-evident, right? But it really is the lessons that are learned while competing in athletics, while here as a cadet, are developing the character traits, the things that we need and want out of lieutenants and future generals and future leaders for our country. They're developed through athletics. And the story of General Creighton and reading through and the success that he went on to have after he graduated from West Point, after he served such a wonderful career in the Army, to me, what he's done to help build this facility and bring it up to a Division I standard is awesome. But what I find more powerful is that story of him that our cadet athletes are going to see as they come into this facility, and remind them of what they're doing every day when they're practicing and competing out here, what it's going to do for them, what it's doing for them, whether they realize it or not, building a type of character inside of them that we'll all rely on when they become future leaders in our Army and in our nation. And to me, that's the legacy, the beautiful legacy of General Creighton, you, Joan, and all that's supported what's going on here inside this facility. And I just, from my heart, want to say thank you, because I know I had that same experience, and I know we're building that for future generations, for years and years and generations to come, because of the generosity and the vision that General Creighton had, and the life that he built that others will aspire to. And so I just want to say thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to share this special moment with you and your family, and just thank you for the impact that you've had and will continue to have for many, many years on our Army West Point cadet athletes. Thank you.
Cool.
Okay, as we get going here, there's several people that I need to mention and thank. These key people, I mean, to make the success of the endowment, the program, it truly comes down to the alumni and just the impact that the alumni has on the cadet athletes on a regular basis. I see it routinely when we have, whether it be a football game, the alumni coming back up, or certainly the West Point Open, even now, there must be about 40 gymnasts running around West Point. And not only like visiting, but helping and mentoring and being around the cadets, and really, that's the power of the program. This program is very, very unique. There is none other that I have even heard of anywhere in the country, not even in just gymnastics, but any sport that has the kind of like alumni support that we have in particular here is really incredible. And we've been able to just continue to move forward and do great things on behalf of these alumni. But some of the other, many alumni and other just incredible supporters that have really helped us to get on the map and really put us into a position where we are like right today. Herb Lichtenberg, okay, and his family, what they've done for Army Gymnastics and the Academy is astonishing. Lou Gross, John Longhouse, Dan Plosh, Kevin Ainer, John Cavalier, and of course, Major General Neal and Joan Creighton. We would not be here if it was not for those people, certainly. And so I want to just thank you for your support, your trust, and your generosity. I'd be remiss if I didn't say this, because like over the years, one of these particular graduates, I think he was an 86 graduate, and he comes to the West Point Open every year. I think he's been here helping us run the meet now 25 times or something. And every time he'd come into the gym, there was this old beat-up receptionist, and he gave me crap every single year, over and over and over and over. So Dave Fulton is a big inspiration in our new reception desk out there, much better, and I hope it meets your standards.
Hold on.
It gives me a great honor to be here with you all today as we dedicate our gymnastics facility to the MG, Neal, and Joan Creighton Gymnastics Arena. This is a great day for Army Gymnastics, but more important, it's a great day for the Creighton family. This is a day that has been a lifetime in the making. We're not speaking just about one person's life, but we're speaking about two, Neal and Joan. Married in Louisville, Kentucky in 1958, they traveled and saw the world, mostly together, but sometimes alone, like when Neal deployed to Vietnam in 1968. We all know Neal rose to the rank of Major General. He led soldiers from platoon division, commander of one of the Army's most heralded units, the Big Red One, the 1st Infantry Division. He demonstrated a proven pattern of excellence and success in everything he did. He did this in the Army, and he did this in a post-Army career. In the class of 1953 Howitzer yearbook, next to Neal's graduation photo, it says, he always is at his best in a tough situation, and that no matter what happens, Neal would brighten things up immediately. I know this personally because many times as we established and got our endowment going, we had a lot of ups and downs. And in fact, we started our endowment crash. And so here I thought, okay, we're just moving and rocking and rolling. It's not that hard. Look at what we're doing. And then it just basically disappeared. I'm like, oh my God, what happened? And Neal just kept the pedal down, and he didn't even flinch. He just said, keep moving. So we established the gymnastics endowment, which was the first of its kind here at West Point for an athletic team. Neal served as our endowment chairman. At first, I wasn't sure how successful we were going to be at this endowment effort, but Neal, with Joan by his side, brought a confidence to the process through his experience, counsel, encouragement on the task that needed to be done to ensure success. So after I learned all of the key acronyms in order to communicate with Neal, which, by the way, he has a lot, I found that out, and so many times I have to say, hold on, Neal, what are you talking about? But in any case, I did learn to communicate quite well with him. Today, our endowment is closing in on $5 million, and that was the goal for Neal. Like right from the get-go. And we have endowment committee members, Joan here, and our goal right from the get-go was $5 million, because that was going to be a self-sustaining program into the future. And then after the first 5 years, we celebrated $1 million. That's a big goal. That was a great goal, and we hit it. Then after another 5 years, another million, another 5 years, another million, and then so forth. But now, of course, we're really closing in on that gap and that goal that Neal set for us, and we're really, really close to it. The other thing I think that's pretty cool about our endowment is it's not just the key people, it's the volume, the alumni, all the alumni. Behind you, you see all these seats. There's a lot of people that feel that the gymnastics program is like special, and they want to be a part of it, and they're all here. They're all part of it. You see it, and definitely in everything that we're doing. Look around today. Look at the lobby and the gymnastics facility in front of you. It's a reflection of the excellence that Neal Creighton brought to bear every day and wanted and expected in himself and our program. Gymnastics has always been in his heart. When he came back to West Point to teach Spanish, he served as an assistant officer representative for the team for a couple of years, and then he served as the head officer representative in 1963. This is also when gymnasts John Longhauser, Tad Ono, and Bob Wolf, who were all here today earlier, and of course General Longhauser is right over there, and I think Tad Ono's here as well, were beginning their gymnastics here at West Point. 50 years after Neal graduated, sometime around 2004, that's when I approached Neal to serve as our endowment chairman, and he was all in. As I remember, as I've been so fortunate to witness with our gymnastics alumni, Neal's heart remained with our program, and he was ready to compete. He was ready to compete again, this time to help our program into the future. To let those children, the West Point Open, normally there's about 500 children, all from basically 6-year-olds all the way to 18-year-olds competing. And when you watch those little kids, the way I look at it, I look at these little guys, I'm like, they deserve the same opportunity that I had. And what Neal's done is he's made that possible. This program is going to be available for future generations down the road, long down the road. So if young boys that are competing in this competition this weekend, they want to come here, they're going to have an open door. And that's entirely a big part of what Neal wanted to do. I walk into this gym today, and I'm proud of what I see. And I'm reminded consistently through the memory and conversations with Neal and Joan. Through their generosity of the Creighton family, we were able to dedicate the gymnastics training facility in the name of M.G. Neal and Joan Creighton Gymnastics Arena. My final comments on this wonderful day is is that I stand here today because of Neal and Joan Creighton. As a team, they represent all that is good in an Army family, and there is much to be learned from their life of service to others. I am most happy from this point forward when gymnasts, coaches, donors, cadets, friends, recruits walk in to the MG Neal and Joan Creighton Gymnastics Arena, we'll have the opportunity to share Creighton family story with them. Congratulations, Joan and the Creighton family. Thanks for all you've done for us, the Academy, and our program, and me personally. It's been an absolute pleasure and an honor, and I'm humbled to have had the opportunity to spend 20 years talking with your husband and spending time with him. I'll remember it forever. Thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to bring up to the podium here Neal Creighton, Jr.
Thank you, Doug. It's a pretty emotional day for our family. I mean, I'd like to ask Mom and my two sisters to come on up here so you can be seen on the camera here. So I know there's a lot of people streaming out there, and they would love to see you when you come over this side.
Yeah, right. How about right on this side?
Okay.
For Joan.
Don't knock over the camera. Though.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, why not start things up?
All right, thank you. Yeah, I'd like to speak a little briefly about my mom and dad, and start by thanking a few people. There are a lot of people here today that mean a lot to our family, and I'll probably miss somebody, so I'll apologize up front. You being here means a lot to my mother and father, but starting off with the family, you know, I've got my sisters, Linda and Lisa, and obviously my mom, Joan, or better known as Joanne, as my dad would call her, here with us. And then we have a bunch of grandchildren here. We actually have one great-grandchild. If you're a grandchild of Dad and Mom, please raise your hand so people can see you out there.
Hello.
I've got one great-grandchild, as I said, but a lot of family made it here from Massachusetts and flew in from Kansas this morning with my mom to be here. So we really appreciate everyone in the family coming by. I do want to thank AOG, so Dan, Mike White, Chris Wood, who are here, and I know my dad loved working with the team here, especially you, Mike. I know you guys have known each other for a number of years. And I want to thank Doug Van Ameren. So Doug, you know, my dad, he loved you. And the program you built here at West Point is amazing. Doug's been a coach here for a number of years, almost since I graduated. He's still a very young man, but he's been here for a number of years, and he's had a great impact on a generation of leaders and soldiers that have served in Afghanistan and Iraq and provided great courage and service to this nation. And I hope, Doug, you're here a lot longer, but you know, you're amazing. I wanted to thank you as well. There's other people here that came in from all over the country, so I'm going to again mention some people, and I apologize if I do forget anybody, because we do love you all. And I want to thank Eldon Nygaard, Eldon over here, retired Chief Warrant Officer, looks great in his uniform, by the way. I don't look so good in mine. I just gained a lot of muscle weight, Eldon, but you look fantastic. And but Eldon served with my dad with the Black Horse in Vietnam, and he's a well-known pilot, decorated for bravery. He's here with his wife Sherry. We appreciate Sherry being here as well. But they were incredibly close. And Eldon, you know, saved my dad's life a couple times, at least a couple times. And Eldon reminds me, my dad also said that Eldon almost cost him his life a couple times too with the flying as well. He was joking with him, but seriously, you tell me great stories of Eldon, and that combat experience has bonded them together with the members of the Black Horse, and it means a lot, Eldon, that you and Sherry are here today, so thank you. There's also Major General Longhauser, which I've met today. Your wife Cheryl, thank you for being here. I know you also served in the Black Horse, and my mom and dad, we're both grateful that you're here. Leo Tayo. Leo, where are you? right there. So Leo is served with my family for many years as an enlisted aide, and Leo was pretty well known because he served a lot of general officers' families, but he went through 2 duty stations with us from over in Europe to the 1st Infantry Division, and he became a member of the family. He's like a brother, and he's like a son to my mom. And I'd often find them arguing together in the kitchen every morning, like kids would do as well. She's not old enough, so she's informed me she's not old enough to be your mother, Leo, but I do remember that. You know, thank you, Leo, for coming here. You know, I just want to make sure, I know there's a lot of staff here too, and graduates of gymnastics, and I want to thank you guys all for being here. Anybody from the gymnastics team, thank you very much for being here as well. And there's a lot of people streaming out there today, and because of the situation, everyone couldn't make it here. But there's a lot of people from the class of 1953 that are watching, and I want to thank Ed Andrews, who organized that and got the information out to the class. It was a great help to our family when my dad passed. And there's other classmates, and my mom knows them all, and I can't mention them all, but I know in particular the Noahs. I want to thank Priscilla Noah and family for listening, and Malloy's, and all other members of the class of 53. And then there's other people as well that my parents served with, like the Garzas. I think Linda and Melita are probably on the line. Uncle Dom and Carol from Virginia. And other members of the class of 89 that are out there from my class, Lou Marcico from McCartney Foundation, and family listening in from Kentucky. Thank you all for being here to honor my mom and my dad. So this is an emotional event for us. It's very hard to talk about our dad, but I thought for a while about what Dad would want me to say up here on the stage, and you have a great relationship with somebody when you actually know exactly what they would say, and I often ask myself in situations what Dad would do in this situation. And so I'm going to talk. I've organized into 5 quick areas that I just want to talk about and convey to my parents, and these are things my dad would not say, because he was very humble man, but there's things I want to point out about him and Mom that I think are important. And first of all, the biggest thanks I'd like to say from my dad is to my mom. So as you walk in the gymnastics arena, and you may not have had time to read the stuff as you came in, I encourage you guys to read it as you go through, but there's the story of the family, but on the right side, where my dad's uniform is, there's a book called A Different Path. And it's a 700 and some page book, and it's really a love letter to my mom. And, to our family, to those who we serve with. And, I want to point out that they've been married for 62 years. This is Dad's love of his life. And have many experiences together. And, they're too much to count, but they're in the book. But I'll just point out a few. Like, early in their career, they're in Dominican Republic, and my dad got very sick. And my mom found him, he had a bad infection. And she had him evacuated to Puerto Rico. And at the time, there was a coup going on in the Dominican Republic at the same time. And my dad was engaged with the president of the Dominican Republic and very much knowing what was going on. But he was being evacuated. So after he was evacuated, Mom was put under house arrest. And she had to figure a way how to get out of the Dominican and back to my dad with the family, with Linda. And she was able to do that. But they had many experiences like that over their career. My mom served with the CIA. I don't know if she's doing it now or not. She hasn't told us. But I think she had a higher security clearance than Dad did. But she had some time within the CIA. And we moved every 18 months as kids. And, that was a hard thing. But Mom was always there to make sure that my dad was on track. It was really a team effort. The family was okay. They worked together at the McCartney Foundation. And the McCartney Foundation has been great to West Point, but great around the country in philanthropic activities. And they worked there together. And my dad would call Mom the Jonas General. She was clearly, when he came in our house, it was clear who was in charge when she came home. And I've taken a lot of learnings from that. My wife, Ducky, is not here today, My father-in-law is here today, and we're grateful that he's here, and her family's watching at home. But I don't introduce in charge when I'm at home, from example, from my father. So when it came to naming the gymnastics arena here, I went to my mom and I said, we have this great opportunity with West Point to name the arena, what do you want to name it? And she said, I'd like to name it the Neal Creighton Gymnastics Arena. And I knew that Dad wouldn't want that to happen. They were a team, everything they did was together. I said, no, Ma, I think it should be named the Joan and Neal Creighton Gymnastics Arena. And we had a going back and forth every day, changing back and forth. And so finally, I didn't know how to convince her, so I thought, what would my dad do in this situation? So I called her up and I said, if you name it the Neal Creighton Gymnastics Arena, somebody might get confused and think the arena is named after me. And I quickly changed her mind. She didn't know we had any credit for that. And she went with the Neal and Joan Creighton Gymnastics Arena. But they were extraordinarily close. My dad, the other things about my dad I want you to remember is, he loved his family. He came from a broken family. His dad was an officer in World War II, and when he came back, he and his mom divorced. He loved his dad. He remained very close to his father, and his mother died when he was a yearling at West Point, and he loved her very much. But as you look around, as you walk in, you'll see the story of the family, and to him, his family was extraordinarily important, right? And you can see how much the family is ingrained in my dad's story, and he was particularly sensitive to the sacrifices of the Army family and what you went through as you moved from post to post. But he also saw the Army family as a great place to raise your kids, because you get a different view of America when you're going from different countries and you're coming back, and you learn what a privilege it is to be an American citizen. And the way we grew up, we grew up understanding our country's not perfect, it never will be, but it's a system that allows us to be the best that we can be and continues to improve, and it's really the greatest nation on the earth. And we were able to understand that growing up in the Army with our dad and Mom. And Dad loved West Point. I think you guys all know that. And he loved Army gymnastics. And I grew up in a home where I constantly heard stories about the academy. And I knew the desire you need to be here, the integrity portions, all those things that required to be a West Point cadet and Army officer. But I also had these very fun stories from my dad about West Point. And I just reveled in these stories. And particularly, he would tell me stories about when he was a cadet with a roommate called Sandy Malloy. And for those of you who know Sandy, he became the commander of the 82nd Airborne and Lieutenant General. But at West Point, my dad and Sandy weren't the best cadets. They were getting into a little bit of trouble every now and then, but they proved to be good Army officers. But he would talk about Sandy and tell these stories where my dad would come up with a prank or a joke, and Sandy would agree to go along with him, and they'd execute the joke, and then somehow Sandy would mess something up, and my dad would step in and he would save the day, and the prank would be very successful. And so I thought these were great stories. So one day when I was in high school, General Malloy came to visit us. We were in the Netherlands. He was commanding the 82nd Airborne, pretty intimidating. And I remember being alone at the breakfast table when General Malloy comes up and sits down. And he says, "Young Neal, do you know about the stories about the pranks your dad and I played at West Point?" And I lit up, I beamed, and I said, "Yeah, yes, sir, I know about those stories." He said, "Well, let me just tell you the stories again." And so we went through the exact same stories verbatim, but it was the reverse. Sandy had planned the jokes. My dad kind of messed up, and he stepped in and he would save the day. And I told my dad, and he laughed about the I don't know what the truth is, but he laughed wholeheartedly at it. But I think at the end of the day, both Sandy and my dad were playing a joke on me because I thought West Point's going to be a ton of fun. And I found out later I had a good time here, but it wasn't exactly how they had told me it was. But he loved his classmates, and he loved gymnastics. He came here in 1949, and he was a great athlete in high school. And he had played baseball, basketball, and football. And when he came here, he tried out for the baseball team, and he made the core squad team. And then he tried out for the football team. And when he tried out for football, they said, "Hey, you're a little small." He's 5'8" at the time, and but you're very acrobatic. Why don't you go try out for the gymnastics team? And yeah, I know male gymnasts start a little bit later than female gymnasts, but he started when he was a plebe here at West Point. And he became a great tumbler. Like, you know, I think one of the best in the country in tumbling, and he'll at one point do some training for the Olympic team. But if you look at these banners out here, 1951 and 1952, he was on both those teams. And you can see the picture of those winning teams in there. But he loved gymnastics, and he took that fun-loving aspect of the sport with him into the Army. I know as a lieutenant, he got kicked out of the officers club for doing backflips through the officers club. I think after a few spirits or a couple drinks, but he laughed that one off. And I remember as a very young boy, him trying to teach backflips. He was a full colonel, not backflips, but like back handsprings to Lisa and pulling his back. But he loved gymnastics, and he was with it. You know, I do want to point out that the program here, and I talked about it, and this is how we felt about the West Point program. It's an amazing program. And I know General Marshall once said, it has a dangerous mission, I want a West Point football player. But I think you can substitute that any day with a West Point gymnast. Because if you look at the Lieutenant Pontoc wall over here, and then the people that are there, the awards for valor, the leadership that was given from the gymnastics team over the years, it's still being given. The gymnastics team helps create great leaders of character. And it's an amazing program that Doug, all coaches before you, have built here, and my dad was well aware of it. And you know, he liked West Point so much that in 2018 he came here at the West Point Open to give a talk. And he gave a talk right here, right around here, and he gave out awards in 2018. And what people didn't know that he was very sick then. It's hard to talk about a little bit, but he wasn't well. And he had suffered a bit from these mini strokes that had prevented his executive function from, you know, thinking clearly a lot of times, you know, having some hallucinations. Times that were very tough for him. But somehow he dug deep, and he came here, and he talked to everyone. He gave a great talk. He gave out awards. I remember talking to Mike White, and Mike saying, hey, your dad was great. And he did. He did. I don't know how he did it. It's hard to explain. I can only think that something deep inside of him pulled him together on that day to be here with you. And I think God blessed him to give him strength as someone who served other people to be strong and great on that day. And he was. And he had a profound sense of things that were happening to him, but he wanted to be at his best for you and for West Point and for this program. So he loved it. He loved his program. And the last thing, you know, the last couple areas I just want to talk about is Dad loved people. He loved our country. He always found common ground with people. You know, we kind of have a time now where things are very divided. And I'm not very political, and I don't want to go that way. All I'm saying is the dad could sit and talk with anyone. Anyone from any walk of life you could talk to. I remember one time being in Germany, we had these vacations we would go on to Garmisch, like Hemse, and I remember being at a dinner table, my dad got up and went to the bar, and he sat down with a group of soldiers. At the time he was a two-star, and they were all talking, had a beer, and got up and they said, you know, good night, Sergeant, we'll see you tomorrow. And my dad didn't care whether he was a general, he didn't care about his rank, he just wanted to talk to people. And, you know, he was friends with people from all political spectrums, from Jimmy Carter to Gerald Ford. And I think as we think about our own lives or our country, that we should all strive to be more like that. And I remind myself every day to be more like my father. You know, he continued to service outside of the Army, with the Army Museum. So many of you may not know this, but you know, he was the first executive director of the U.S. Army Museum. And up until a couple years ago, the U.S. Army didn't have a museum. And so we got that off the ground. And now we have a beautiful museum in Fort Belvoir, and I encourage anyone has the time to go see it. It's magnificent. He took a job at the Liberty Memorial as executive director there. And for those of you who don't know, Liberty Memorial is the National World War I museum and memorial in Kansas City, Kansas. And it didn't shut down. And he, with a group of people, raised $90 million to restore that group effort. And now it's open. It has hundreds of thousands of visitors every single year. It's really a great museum. And then just work with McCartney Foundation across the United States, helping lots of different organizations and people, and also with the Academy. But he continued his work with Mom over all those years, and they did that together. I close, and this leave this with you. And this has been hard for me to get through, so I apologize. But the one thing I have a hard thing talking about is my dad, my mom. We used to have a great life together. We had a great life together. But he told me years ago when I was a kid, when I was concerned about death. I think everyone's concerned, especially when they're young, about death and about losing your parents. I said, "What's it like, Dad?" And he said, "Old soldiers never die; they just fade away." And I know that's a quote from McCartney. And I didn't think much about it. I thought maybe he was just trying to get me off his back at the time, and I didn't think much about it until he passed away. But I realized what it really meant, at least to me, what I think it meant. And I think for anyone like my mom and dad who have an impact on people around them, who serve others, who can talk to anyone, see other people's point of view, and really touch people long after they're gone, they don't just stop. They fade away. And he's still here. So he's here in this building. I can feel him. I feel him with you, Doug. He's with Mom. He'll be with the cadets tonight as the West Point Open goes, and I hope they do well. And he's here with all the grandkids and everyone he's ever touched, his classmates. He'll be here for a long time. And I think all of us can remember that, at some point we will die. And no matter what time we have left, if we can be that way to others and touch other people, we too can fade away. And this great building here, this endowment, this naming, the support you have, Doug, I don't think it's going to fade away too fast. It's going to be here a long time, and I'm just really honored on behalf of my mom and my dad to be part of this, for our family to be part of this. And I want to thank you again, and I want to thank West Point on behalf of my mom and dad. Thank you, Doug. Thank you.
And Neal loved the Army, he loved West Point, and I think he loved his life. I don't think he passed with any regrets. At least I hope not. So I think he was really happy. He loved his children, and he gave a lot to the community and everything. And so I think he was happy. So I imagine he's probably doing backflips in heaven now. So, but thank you.
Thanks, Neal, Joan, and the Creighton family. For those of you that are going to be attending tonight's finals, I just wanted to tell you, so the top 8 individuals from last night's competition will be competing tonight. And so last night was kind of like a 6-ring circus, so 6 events going on, quite busy. Tonight there's just two events going on. it breezes through quite quickly. So the event starts at 7 and it really should be wrapped up right around 8:30. One of the things that we always, as much as we could when General Creighton was around, is we did indeed use his services to help hand out awards. And we love to have like special people presenting these awards to these athletes all over the place. And tonight, these athletes, these are the cream of the crop. There's national team members, there's All-Americans, there's a very, very high level. And there's a number of our cadets that are going to be competing tonight, so we're looking forward to that. But one of the things we are going to do tonight is the Creighton family, all of them, are going to be presenting awards. So there's 6 sets of awards, floor, pummels, rings, ball, parallel, or high bar. And so we will be bringing the Creighton family back. This is their day, and we're going to have them present awards out on the floor. So we're looking forward to that. So on another note, any tickets that you guys need, Whitney over there at the door certainly has any tickets, and there'll be some reserved seating and so forth for that event. Finally, I wanted to take a minute and recognize a dear friend of Army gymnastics. In the sport of gymnastics, we recently lost Harry Berkey. Harry was a renowned judge at the highest levels of the sport for over 55 years, and a friendly face to see, along with his wife Maureen, over here. We decided to include Harry on our West Point Open history wall, right over there, as a permanent reminder of his support and dedication to the sport of gymnastics, and especially Army gymnastics. Harry was a generous man. He was a leader of the sport. He judged 3 Olympic Games. He judged 11 World Championships. He served as the president of the association. Harry was a giant within the sport and is missed by all that know him and knew him. At 5 o'clock this evening, before the finals, we'll be hosting a special social on behalf of Harry with several of his friends, judges, and his supporters, and alumni, and so forth. You guys are all welcome, certainly, to attend that. It's in the Holler Center, up right behind the actual gymnastics venue. And so feel free to stop by there if time permits for you. And we certainly hope you can make it to the finals tonight. Like I said, it'll be an excellent event. And beyond that, I just want to again thank the Creighton family and everybody here that's been here this weekend. And it's been a really, really special day for Army Gymnastics. The Wall of Distinction and the MG Neal and Joan Creighton Gymnastics Arena naming. Thank you very much. There's certainly more food and drinks. You're welcome to stay here as long as you want. Thank you very much.